spirit industry there with a purpose of training all the people who work in the wine industry in the UK, the wine and spirit industry. And as part of that undertaking, we developed a collection of qualifications from beginner, level 1, all the way up to level 4 diploma, which is a 2-year course that covers all of the wines and spirits of the world. And people who work in the industry in the UK and increasingly in other parts of the world do our qualifications because they provide a quality assurance to the people they work for that these are people who understand the wines of the world. We now operate in 63 countries across the world in many different languages, and to give you an idea of the kind of quantity of people who take our qualifications, last year I believe about 57,000 candidates sat one or other of our qualifications in one of those 63 countries. So you can see that we have a very wide spread. Can I just ask quickly, is everybody happy that we do this in English? Yeah? Good. If you don't understand anything I say, just put your hand up and hopefully I might be able to find the German word for you. As part of our qualification process, we also developed a method that allows us to evaluate wines in a professional and structured way with an objective view. And this is a really powerful tool because it allows us to study a wine and break it down into its components for a number of reasons. You may, in your job, need to be able to assess the quality of a wine, which is what we're going to do this morning. Or you may need to know whether the wine is typical of the region that it comes from or typical of the grape variety. And the system that we've developed allows us to do that using common language that everybody can understand. So I'm going to show you this morning how we do that to look at 3 wines of different quality levels. And to make it easier for you, we have picked one region, one wine style. So what we're going to look at this morning is Valpolicella. So we have a very simple, plain Valpolicella, and we have a Ripasso, and we have an Amarone. So we have slightly different styles, but each of these wines will be able to show you in increasing levels of quality and how we detect that quality. What is it in the wine that tells us that this is a better quality wine? So we do that in 4 different stages. First of all, we look at the wine, and what we're doing there is we're looking for clues that can tell us information about the wine. Now, when you look at a wine, you get the least information. That's the least important part of the process. But it can tell you something. It can tell you sometimes whether the wine has sweetness, because with a sweeter wine, when you swirl it, you get legs forming on the glass. That can also be an indication of alcohol. From the colour, you can sometimes tell how old the wine is. So a very young wine is very, very blue if it's a red wine. If it's an older wine, then it takes on a brown colour. Now, from a quality point of view, that's not particularly important. Apart from the fact that sometimes for a wine to age, it needs to be a good quality wine. So if you have a wine that has a brown colour, then that may be an indication to you that that's a better quality wine, but not necessarily. You need to complete the whole process because it could just be a wine that is out of condition. The next stage is that you smell the wine, and when you smell the wine, you're looking for things like intensity. You're looking to identify what the fruit character is on the wine. And then you move on to the tasting, which is the most important part and the most enjoyable part, of course. And that will tell you a lot about the structure of the wine. And it's the structure of the wine that tells you the most information about the quality. So there we will be looking at the acidity, the tannin, the body, the alcohol, and not just what the levels are, but how they work together and whether they are harmonious, whether the wine is smooth, rich, or whether it's angular, whether something is out of balance. And then finally, you take all of those components together to reach a conclusion as to the quality of the wine. And when you make that final judgment, you're looking for things like the intensity, the complexity, so how many aromas are in the wine, the length, does it last a long time? Is it a length that's dominated by something unpleasant? Or is it length that is really smooth and harmonious? And the balance as well is important. So we're going to use that system today, and we're going to use it based on this little crib sheet that we've produced, and we will give you one of these to take away with you. Actually, if you want to hand those out.